Yeah! You're tuned into Live with DJ Steady and Company, where the vibes stay grown, the talk stay crazy, and the energy always crazy. Kick back, let that beat hit, and let us talk to you nice tonight.
Uh-oh, ladies and gentlemen, somebody done persuaded me to get back on the microphone because I was on my little hiatus break. But tonight, due to some determination and some goodwill, I decided to give y'all some Live with DJ Steady time tonight. You know, bless y'all with a little bit of my time. And tonight, I'm joined by my lovely co-assistant, co-host tonight. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to call her the lovely Miss Waterfall Adams, you know, because we don't, you know, TLC taught us best. We don't go chasing waterfalls. We just listen to the rivers. So tonight we're gonna be talking to y'all a little bit about, you know, some of the challenges that we deal with as podcasters and kind of educate y'all a little bit on our thoughts on what podcast traditionally is. So y'all just stay tuned. I'm gonna let you take the mic and then go ahead and talk to the people, and we can get it going.
Well, hey, this is Waterfall Adams. I'm a creative professional who is not only I self-published 2 books and I'm working on more. And I'm also happy to be one of the hosts on Cinema Bros, where you'll find it on Spotify. And tonight's topic, we're going to discuss the challenges of being a consistent podcaster.
Absolutely. I like how you do that. You was a co-host for the Cinema podcast. You didn't tell me nothing about that in the introduction, but we'll get to that at a later time.
Yes, well, it's kind of like practice for me for when I start my own podcast one day.
Absolutely, and that's what this episode is about. Help get the, you know, get your brain formulated and get you some notes on the side. So yeah, I'm happy to help.
Yes, well, the first challenge we're going to talk about is like time and consistent grind.
Perfect opener. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, when like you're not just talking when you're trying to produce an podcast episode. It requires having to do a lot of research, script writing, depending if your podcast uses a script, guest scheduling, got to mix the audio, and writing show notes.
Absolute. And breath control, because you don't want to be one of those ones that forget to put the commas and the periods in the end of your sentence. And, you know, that's why it is important in time control, because if you say something going to be 60 minutes, and then next thing you know, you done did a whole 3 hours, you went way above the time plan that you scheduled for this show.
Yeah, if you're going to do like an episode with a device, like let's say a smartphone or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop, just make sure your device is charged up and working.
Yes, that is important. And if you're going to have guests who normally can't use a desktop computer or a laptop as well, you want to make sure that their device is accommodating to your platform that you're going to use to record. So I agree with you on that, because oftentimes, you know, if you're going to use your mobile device and you don't charge or you don't shut off certain notifications, it can ruin a very good episode of a podcast.
True. And also, burnt out is one of those things because, you know, like you having the balance, like with a podcast, like it could be a full-time job or it could make like your personal life scheduling like difficult, and the fatigue trying to come up with like new angles for an after an episode, it can really be draining.
I'm at that stage like right now. That's why I've been putting off so many episodes after I've been kind of formulated something. And then, you know, I go back in my notes and I'm kind of like, this is too narrow. This is too broad. Like, this is not enough to keep the audience engaged. It's what I'm kind of struggling with now. It's like, because everybody blogs now. Everybody waits for TMC to drop something. And everybody got an opinion to something now.
So speaking of blogs, I got 2 blogs.
Just keep giving me gifts, girl. Keep dropping these gifts out. I'm definitely get tap into
Yeah.
it, ladies and gentlemen. She seemed like
In fact,
she'll
I
take
might
it.
go ahead right now, send like my link tree link. It's it sums up like all my social media and stuff. Just
Gotcha,
gonna
gotcha.
send it now.
Absolutely.
And another part about the challenges of being like a consistent podcaster is like having to do like the technical and the production roadblocks. Like let's say there've been times like during like an interview there've been technical difficulties, and
Right.
also your equipment and like having to do the editing, like got to clean up the audio, removing the dead air, trying to master a steep learning curve. Oh, and trying to manage things like guest management, like coordinate schedules. Because I've been guest on plenty of podcasts where we had to reschedule because one podcaster lost her voice. Another podcast had like a family emergency.
And that can be a downpour if you've already added it to your calendar, right? A lot of us will put it on the calendar and say, okay, on this day at this time, I'm supposed to go on this show. And when you have these uncontrolled variables of situations that cause it to cancel, it kind of throws a wrench into, oh, had you said something earlier, I could have rearranged my schedule to fit whatever I canceled for that day for this back into it.
True. And also, like another one is like slow audience growth and low visibility. In fact, speaking of podcast growth, I also discovered there's another podcast called the same name, where it's actually like two brothers.
Okay,
And
definitely
it's
want
just
to check them
that
out.
times like with there's a lot of podcasts out there, different platforms, and it can be like gotta try to stand out amongst the rest.
Yeah, and to stand out, your whatever you're going to introduce your podcast as has to automatically be. It has to be tasteful to come off the tongue. Like you want something that's creative, but also make people want to engage. Because most people like traditional, like what do they call, like true crime podcasts. Some of them are into the health or fitness or whatever their preferred niche is. So whatever you're going to do with your podcast, you better be prepared that you're going into the whole network of billions of podcasters before you that you have to really stand out for that.
Yeah, like I said before, I do plan on starting my own podcast one day. It's just that what I'm trying to do is one that deals with like celebrity fashion evolution. Is one of my ideas. Is I need to come up with a name for it. A lot of things, like I said before, I've been a guest on plenty of podcasts. It's just not all of them are the same. Like some where I can just dress casual or whatever, like we're having a regular conversation. And there's others I have to dress up, put on makeup, and watch my language.
Well, this live with DJ Steady, baby, where all kind of conversation is welcome, and you can be as comfortable as you want to be on this show.
Okay. Even though I don't feel comfortable showing my face right now, you see a picture of me. Maybe in other episodes, I'll show like the real me. This is an actual human being, not some AI.
Right, because that's what we're dealing with now is AI has took over. So we can assure you, I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, she's 100% real, and she's a great thinker because she's given me some topics behind the scene that made me go back and say, that would be interesting. So I appreciate you just taking the time to really kind of give me the motivation to turn back on the microphone because I've been away for a little minute.
Well, glad you're here.
That's what I'm saying. That right, which is key to being consistent, is being able to, for one, like you say, make sure your timing is together. If you're gonna go down the script book and making sure that your audio equipment is, it don't have to be thousands of dollars of audio equipment, but just you want to be able to be here without all that static and all that popping and all that. Because when it comes to editing, sometimes it can be too much that an editor will be like, nah, I can't do nothing with it. You're gonna have to scrap that episode.
And also, another thing is like with the guest matches, like handling unexpected cancellations, like I just mentioned, and also technical difficulties like the like internet connection goes out or something
Right.
goes wrong.
And you have to have, and that's where you got to learn how to pivot. I feel like that's when you need to at least create plan A through D, because like with me, sometimes my health issues can be the reason why I'm going to cancel, or the weather can be completely bad and my Wi-Fi will go out. So those are some of the things that would cause me to just basically cancel, or a guest might have something randomly come up. Like I know one time before we was about to interview a guest, and they had scheduled to get their hair done probably maybe 15, 20 minutes before it was time for us to go into a live show. And they offered to want to still do the show while getting their hair done. But me and my co-host at that time was kind of like, nah, we can reschedule for a later time to give you the courtesy and respect to get yourself together, because right now it just was like it was just bad timing. They wasn't a bad person. It's just the timing was off.
Yeah, like for example, let's say you're doing an interview with me and I'm sitting in a chair in like a hair salon getting my hair braided, or somebody's house getting my hair braided, and I gotta move my head in the phone different ways and try to make sure you don't capture the hairstylist, like respect their privacy, or have like that reasonable blur.
Right. And also you have to be willing to, how far in your podcast are you willing to deal with distractions? Because you got to deal with the hairdresser. Sometimes if you're at someone's personal house, a place of business, they may have kids around and they're trying to get the kids to settle down. Like a lot of people are to do their job. They know how to maneuver in that type of energy. But when we're recording something that can be audio and visual, or sometimes just audio, we needed kind of that background has to be as silent as much as you can get it.
And also, you don't want, like, for example, I had this happen before. Like, I was getting my hair done at somebody's house, and she stopped doing my hair so she can spank her kids.
No tip, just right. Like you just done upset me for the day. I'm already, you know what I'm saying, trying to get this hair done. I done set this time, and you done took 10 minutes to do all that. Yes, that's a lot. Cause then you can't be really dedicated to my house.
Oh yeah, and also speaking of the topic we were just talking about, like there are ways, and also I see doing research like the challenges that consistent podcasters face. It's just like the perfectionism trap. That's when they spend too much time is spent on obsessing over flawless audio, and the edits got to be pristine rather than like the focusing on that core message that
Yeah,
can
yeah.
paralyze your schedule, production schedule, and also something like called the content treadmill. That's like hitting a not so real weekly or bi-weekly deadline to create content. It starts to feel like a chore rather than like a project, a passion project, and that pressure to so-called feed the calendar. That can definitely lead to like your a quality drop and burnout.
Agreed. It definitely burnout for sure, because you're gonna spend so much time obsessing over trying to perfect it that you don't wasted months and sometimes even years just trying to make the perfect thing. When all you had to do is just, you never know how perfect it's going to be for yourself until you just get it on wax. Till you record it, like don't spend too much time planning. Like I know for me right now, being on hiatus and planning, and because I'm also a podcast producer as well. So a lot of times you'll see a show like the Handicap and Chill show is one of the shows that I produce, and it's still me behind the scenes doing something. So in the midst of not seeing me as I am today back on the microphone, I'm still doing stuff behind the scenes, and as well as working on a show called The Southern Takeover, you know, with Zada Coach Reloading doing his thing. So I'm definitely got my hands in a lot of projects.
True. And I got some hands in my in projects myself. Like for example, I'm trying to adapt one of my poems in the stage and screen. I'm just learning how to do it.
Okay.
Like the stage adaptation. Now that's the tricky part because either this thing it's a base. This poem is based on African American the history of African American dance. And like the staging part is tricky. Like, is it going to be something like the Nutcracker or the Alvin Ailey Theater or kind of like musical theater?
I guess the choice is up to you. What direction you see your vision? Like you gotta have the paintbrush in your hand and be ready to paint.
Okay.
Because you can go either or with it. Because when you think of African American dance, I'm thinking way back. Like I'm thinking, the days of Alex Haley. I'm thinking, stuff like that are really
Like
going back to
slavery?
the roots. Oh, you want to go? I knew it was a notch further back than that.
Like it starts from Africa to the digital world we live in.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a lot. So I hope you figure it out. If not, you know what I'm saying? I got a couple of references I can be happy to share with you off camera that maybe can help get that formulated with you.
Okay. And also, I found out, looked at some like ways that podcasters can like overcome these types of challenges, like batch record episodes, like instead of that usual week to week, like record 3 or 4 episodes in a single like time, like like in the afternoon. Like it creates like a buffer just in case like you get sick, face a schedule conflict, or if your guest cancels, you won't miss a publishing date at all.
You know what? And that could be very beneficial. And I've been, one of my podcast family members was like, you should start doing that. Like, learn to just kind of archive a couple of episodes so that you don't miss any deadlines I may set for myself. And I was like, it sounds really good for me. But I guess, like I said, with me right now and my mental space, it's just going, I want to the perfectionist that I am goes, whatever I'm trying to create to bring to the masses, I don't want episode one to sound just like episode three. Like I need everything to be different and my topics to really bring my audiences back in. So tonight I feel like this is really kind of therapeutic to get me back going and I'm just thinking back. So it's like, yeah, I love where we're going with this right now.
Yes, another thing you could use like implement structure systems is like usually successful podcasters they rely on a strict operational system than just raw motivation. Like you could set specific days of the week solely dedicated to planning, recording, and editing.
Absolutely. That helps. I've done that before. That really helps. Like most of my shows I try to record between Wednesdays and Fridays. So at least by the weekend I can do my editing and, clipping and stuff of that nature to get those back out there is what I traditionally try to do with content that I've created.
Yeah, you can, and also a podcaster can try to repurpose content. Like it can take the pressure off of creating original long form content every single time, like re-release interviews that they done on other podcasts or slice up past episodes. Kind of like
Absolutely.
engaging in micro content that kind of fill in the gaps in your schedule.
Agree. And with the times of today, it would be very beneficial to help. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to build, especially an audience, because people who are just now tapping into what you're doing as a podcast, and for me, like just using me as a reference, I've been in this game for 5 years. So it's like my first and second year stuff, even though it's not my favorite content stuff to go through, I've got a lot of great reviews for doing that stuff.
And One last thing like to overcome is like outsource the heavy lifting if like editing it holds you back. Like you can consider production software or delegating post production to an audio editor. I think like the podcast editor and the audio editor. I think you can find them people on Fiverr. It's like a freelancing website.
Right? You can do that, or you can contact Rocksteady Media Network, and we'll be happy to help you too.
Yes, it's like it can allow a podcaster to focus on their core message and their audience engagement.
That's all. That like when you make the decision, say, "Hey, I want to become a podcaster. What do I need to do?" Everybody's going to immediately jump on the YouTube. They're going to go listen to other people's podcasts, and then they're wondering, this is what all it takes. You really have to kind of be strategic with it. You know what I'm saying? It takes planning for sure. You can't. I don't want to say just get your mic and just start recording, but sometimes you can just do it if you're gifted like that. Because a lot of us who are in the chatty type era, people that like to talk on the phone all the time. But sometimes you can be one of the people that can talk on the phone all the time and then get on a microphone to broadcast something and go, I don't know what to talk about.
Well, a podcast is not as easy as you think. For example, when I was at University of South Alabama, where I got my degree in art history with a minor in dramatic arts, like it was like this class I took called like the medieval art and architecture. The research paper it required I had to do a podcast for that. It's
Mm,
not easy as you think at all. In fact, there are probably kids like in school like these days. A lot more technologically savvy. Um, I'm a millennial, which hey, that makes me technologically savvy. But they
okay.
might be coding homework, or maybe for one of their projects they have to do like a podcast as part of the project or paper or whatever.
I got you. I got you. So like, what are some of the fears you feel like you're dealing with now with trying to branch out and create your own podcast?
Well, I need to research like maybe if I have had certain equipment and make sure I can afford that equipment if I'm going to be audio or if I'm going to be video or if I'm going to do interviews or if I'm not going to do interviews
Okay.
or how to make money from podcasts like donations and sponsoring and other things. And also work out the editing and like technical difficulties and being consistent.
I
Marketing
love
information.
it. I love it. I think you got what it takes when you really get into it. I think you because the way your mind works, that's what caught me from the beginning as we've been having conversations prior to it, and the way you was just presenting these topics, and I'm going, I've never thought about these topics, or I've thought about them and then go, I don't know. So to have that energy, it's very refreshing.
Yes, and also we might do another episode of some time called about the history of podcasts. Like we see a lot of podcasts these days, but we don't know where it all began. We can save that for another episode.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely love to revisit, and we can go down that as our next episode. And because I'm looking at now, watching a lot of daytime talk shows, like that was an inspiration behind me creating podcasts. Was watching daytime talk shows and then learning, as opposed to radio shows, that podcast, was a different thing. It gave us more freedom. So I liked it, the ability to be like, oh, I can talk and be free, and you you could censor yourself if you choose to, but you also got to be mindful of your audience. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
like if what type of audience you're trying to attract? That's one of the like one of the challenges.
Yes, please note what are you trying to do? Because you can't get on the and talk about the forbidden topics like religion and politics, and then think you're not. You know what I'm saying? Some people have a I don't care attitude, and they can go in and just do it. Because a lot of people think, but then you gotta think too. You just have to be mindful. I don't want to create the controversy myself here, trying to say what I'm trying to say. When the reality is, just be mindful of what you think you're gonna do and who it gravitates around.
And also, depending on like uh, you gotta warn first and foremost if you're trying to attract use mature content. Let the audience in the beginning of the episode first and foremost that this mature audience, viewer discretion advised and stuff like that.
Please give your disclaimers, please, because you going
Oh,
on and don't realize the younger generation folks trying to listen to it, and it ain't made for their ears.
oh yeah, but then again, they might listen anyway. Kids can be crafty and sneaky. Believe me, I was one.
We all was one. Everything they told us not to listen to, we still find a way to listen to it.
And just kind of remind me you like a YouTube video about talking about this '90s music versus today's music. It comes kind of a poem I wrote talking about how the older generations talking about how the younger generations music inappropriate or whatever, but then the music from back when they were young kind of paved the way for that.
Thank you. Let's start there. It opened the door. The only difference is it just got more freakier from the 90s on down. Yeah. See, that's a whole episode by itself.
Oh yeah, even the fashions, the tech, um, the technology,
Yeah.
what's it good? Like I said before, music, and they call rock and roll the devil's music, and then again, what rock and roll music like the devil's music. They also had a problem with jazz and no matter what, they always have a problem with it, and also as it gonna, I forgot those other parts of points that of youth points like fashion, tech, music, dance of youth. Talking about certain dances too, raunchy, but look at the dance probably raunchy in the past, raunchy for its time. And speaking of of wild youth, have you seen, heard, or seen about that Freaknik documentary on Hulu?
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yes.
I noticed people were starting to get scared because some people probably still got warrants out. Some people probably preachers or teachers now and afraid their grandkids gonna see their grandma in there or parent or whatever, or a pastor address the congregation. Look, I know there's a documentary, The Freak, and they better come out and let you know that is either that was 4 hours saved or that's not me, that's my cousin. We look alike.
Right. Because if I'm not mistaken, there is. I think I did see on one of my social media sites that there is a pastor that's actually putting a lawsuit out behind the Freaknik documentary, and you would think for the era that it was in that they wouldn't have had this type of stuff on video. So whoever luckily just go, oh, I captured all this back then. They had them big VHS tape
Yeah, those camcorders, those handheld
yeah.
camcorders.
So
We put the
somebody knew what they was
in.
doing back then because they wanted that moment to live on.
Yeah, and also there's different wild times in history, Woodstock, the disco era.
The disco era. See, there was a lot of these time periods, and there was probably a lot of drugs and paraphernalia for these eras that led to a lot of this stuff developing to where it is. I ain't
In
gonna say what.
in these days of what's that, social media and certain documentaries trending on certain streaming apps, people are starting to get a bit scared.
Yeah, now especially now knowing how this stuff can, come back to haunt you. You look at what happened with Bill Cosby, and you look at the situation with R. Kelly, even Diddy now at these points, these celebrity people who are now I would say,
Oh yeah, speaking, I just call him whatever he calls himself. When he got started, he was first Puffy, then Puff Daddy, P Diddy, Diddy, Sean John, Brother Love.
he went through a lot of aliases. That should have told us right there. When a man like that has to change his name multiple times per whatever decade, there's a problem.
And also, you remember that making the band too? That episode where he made that the band walk from like Manhattan to Brooklyn
For
to
some
get him a cheesecake. And then when they came back, he was gone. Man, I would have ate that cheesecake.
Yo,
My
when they
dad
dropped it though, it's when they got the first one and dropped it and had to go back.
and and Junior's was about to close. My dad, when he was in college in New York, he used to eat there. In fact, and Diddy, when he was locked up before his trial, the jail he was at, it was like close to where he made them go walk to get that same cheesecake area. It's just that I know that whatever he calls himself can be like, bit cocky and all, but I never ever realized to like the things that came out to like this extent or whatever. And I had a feeling that he probably not only started but also ended that East Coast West Coast rap
Not
feud.
not you say he ended it. I don't like what you said he ended it because if we're gonna go down the conspiracy theory avenue, yeah, I'm sure he did end it after the death of Biggie.
And also another documentary. I'm so like he made Notorious B.I.G.'s funeral like a recoupable like you gotta pay it back. And also he did in that song like that. Every step I take, I'll be missing you. He didn't get clearance to use that song from
And
like
that's why every time it plays, the original artist getting paid for it.
yeah. In fact, he gotta pay like oh yeah, did it? Whoever calls himself got to pay Sting like 2,000 a day to him.
Yeah, I should have cleared. I came up with something original at the time.
And like, come on, think of it, like those like Bad Boy songs. If there were like a soundtrack or playlist list of my like youth for growing up or whatever, the songs from that from Bad Boy like be on there. Like I noticed like most of the songs that Diddy produced, or some of them were like mostly like covers or samples. Like More Money, More Problems. That's Diana Ross. I'm Coming Out.
Right. There was a lot. Even Juicy, one of Big's
Well,
biggest
in
songs was a
Fume.
sample.
And what's that? Little Kim's Crush on You. It was from this like song called like Rain Dance or whatever. For it was like late 70s.
Mhm. See, so a lot of his projects and a lot of these artists, which was for that time, it was something different, right? Because that's what it was. Nowadays, most hip hop songs and certain R&B songs are covers from a song from back in the day. But it's all about the clearance. Like as long as you get clearance and you cool to use it, then you can really go further with it.
True. And also another challenge, like like make sure you don't get any kind of like copyright warnings or
Please,
whatever in the
please.
if you're on a podcast. Like maybe I heard like free stock music you can use like you like I heard like maybe like you don't have to like ask like certain like permissions and violate copyright and stuff like that.
Yes, yes. You want to make sure that you're using royalty-free music,
That's
and
it. Well, free music, okay.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. Make sure that even if you're gonna stream, like I normally on one of my music segments will stream a artist song. You just kind of want to make sure that you can follow certain protocols that won't get it muted, because you know
Yeah.
when you're doing live streams, a lot of times your stuff can get muted because you can violate certain rules and rights. So just make sure you're up to date with that if you're going to get into podcasting.
Yeah, and also I give credit like I always say give credit where it's due or they will sue you.
You don't want to get sued and you ain't made no money, no residuals from your podcast. Don't do it.
Yeah. And also, I have made money from the Waterfall Adams names, not much, but I'm working on. I made money nonetheless.
Okay. So what is the Waterfall Adams theme? What is this all about?
Brand. Yeah, it's my pen and stage name. They're like my people. There's a lot of people with my full government name, and I just want something like stick out.
Right. And what way to stick out there to be a waterfall?
Yes, yes, it does, and also, oh yeah, trying to get like a website for your podcast.
Yes. You want that because that's gonna help with your sponsorship and really with your branding. And if you're gonna book guests, if you set it up with the format to allow them to book through your website, it'll help creating those calendar links. Really will help take you to the next level. Because
Oh yeah,
when
in
it comes
fact,
to doing all that behind the like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, you want that to kind of be as easy as possible. As she
oh
said
yeah,
earlier in the show, like going to Fiverr and getting people that help with editing and stuff like that is a great tool. Reaching out to
oh yeah,
people on social media. If you're into like me, I'm in the various podcast groups. There's a lot of freelance editors out there, and
oh
of course, me having my own media network company, I have some editing tools on my team as well.
Oh yeah, speaking of, and also marketing promotion could be a challenge. And speaking of marketing promotion, there's a company in Nigeria that has been very helpful with the marketing and promotion of my two books, and we're discussing about, the marketing and promotion of my other book, and also trying to get like a website for me together and other things. It's called Precious Digital Marketing Agency, ran by Precious Agility Gillian.
Okay, shout out to them.
Yeah, that's an example of outsourcing right there.
Right.
Because it's more affordable than what if I were to get like digital marketing service from my own country. He told me that it can cost around $2,000.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends, though. Depending on who you choose, because most people want to be paid for their time more than their productivity.
True.
And, you know, me, I like to be acknowledged for my time, but I love, like, I'm reasonable with my services, but I ain't gonna cheat myself at the same time.
Yeah, well, this company has done a lot for me. They created my logo. They have done the book trailers and promos for my books, and we're discussing about the book trailer and promos for my next book that I'm trying to get like finish up and get edited and out to the world. It's called Make Money While Sitting on Your Ass. Ain't no nonsense gotta getting paid where the word ass is spelled a United States of America $sign.
And when is this book coming? Because I might need to go cop this book.
Yeah, soon as like it gets soon as it gets finished, hopefully by before this year's end, and also like it gets like approved or whatever to be out or whatever, and also gotta polish up some things first on the book, like the table of contents and other things. And also it took a few years to finish up this book because it depends on the book genre that you use. Some of it requires deep and in-depth research.
Understood.
And also, I'm working on a couple fictions, and just I had to do the research on that. Like, let's say there's genre, and then there's subgenre.
There is.
Let's say you're working on a romance. Is it going to be, let's say, something you would, let's say, see on the Hallmark Channel, or something with some spice, if you know what I mean? Is it going to be like a historical kind of like romance that take place during like a certain period of time?
Those are things to consider. Like Yeah, because I wrote a romance novel, but then mine is kind of like a post-apocalyptic romance novel. So yeah, I'm talking to some people behind the scenes to go ahead and try to get this thing together so I can go and get it published.
Yes, and also, oh yeah, trying to figure out what do you want for your podcast, what type of platform you're trying to do, what's like the genre of your podcast, who you trying to reach, young people or mature people.
Yes, you want to consider that in your plan. Like right out the gate, you should automatically know that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're gonna come on a mentor level, like you're gonna try to reach the youth, then you want to make sure that whatever content you put out stays informative, kind of educational, not too much on the parenting side, but just
Yeah.
enough to be able to kind of reach that audience of that caliber.
Oh yes, and also what else? Either like with younger audience, watch your language, even though the younger audience of course at times, believe me, I know. And like their parent, make sure their parents don't have a problem with it or whatever, or like receive complaints from the parent, legal guardian.
Yeah, so right. So with that, it's best if you're underage like that to have someone kind of help you produce it and make sure that those disclaimers are put out because
Exactly.
you can't just be out there under 21, just letting all certain words fly. Like some things you can get a pass from because we market as cute or whatever, but then there's just like, no, you should be able to have a better vernacular than that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to talk like T.I. on your podcast. If you know, you know. But you want to at least make some sense of what you're saying to people.
Like no, what? Like another thing is like the let's see, purpose for your podcast. Is it to entertain, educate, inform? Is it a hobby? Are you trying to make money off of this?
Everybody's gonna go with the whole money appeal, right? So let's get into that. If your expectations is to make money from your podcast, then it's best to make sure that your podcast is scripted because what you're looking for is sponsorships. And in order for people to decide, it's just like going to the bank to get a loan. In order for them to decide, they're gonna need to know what's the collateral. Like, what are they getting for the money that they're about to invest in this podcast? What is your game plan with it? Because the biggest thing in that is your advertising. Like for me, as a live stream podcast host, I know I do commercials during a lot of my shows. I'll drop commercials and I do promote fellow businesses out there. I
Yeah,
don't.
I need to remember to keep that in mind sometime when I start my podcast. Maybe do commercials.
Yes, it's that's what it is. Like because if big names like Spotify and iHeartRadio, and now that Netflix has entered the podcast streaming game, these people are going to be looking to market, their particular products that they have through whatever you have. So you got to be mindful that your shows. It doesn't have to be completely censored, but it needs to at least be family friendly enough for certain commercials to reach a certain demographic.
Okay. And also trying to figure like your logo and like colors for your podcast, like make it stand out.
Again, that's what I said earlier. It's your name and your artwork has to pop, and it needs to match you. How she was saying how she came up with waterfall for her to be her brand, and I'm DJ Steady, because it matches my actual name and my brand. Like you need to make sure that it's gonna match, because you don't want to miss. What can I say? Like you don't want people to be misled. Is what I'm looking for. It's because if you're gonna do food reviews as a podcast, but then you're talking about football, like you got to make sure that okay, well, while at a football game, we review this, and this. So it just has to correlate whatever you do.
Okay. Well, do you know any challenges that is like consistent with being a consistent podcaster yourself?
Um, right now is consistency. Now is just finding the right topics to bring to your audience. For me, like it's making sure if you're gonna be consistent, know what you're talking about. Like if you, especially if your game plan is to go a whole full hour, then you need to know what not to spend too much time on. And if you know it's gonna go past your scheduled time limit, then you need to be able to prepare to come back for like a part two. Like we can revisit this topic on another time period, type of thing.
And also, it kind of made me want to maybe try to get on my blogs again because lately I just haven't did blog posts in quite a while because I didn't really have much to blog about. But I did remember one of the blog posts I did was about the what's that January 6th insurrection where
Okay.
all the people charged the Capitol. It's just my blog post about what if there were black and brown people, like people of who are, let's say, um, people of color who did that.
They would be unalived. What you mean?
My Yeah, because people get scared whenever they see like a large group of not people of color.
Automatically, yeah, and it don't even have to be like a large number, but just a group, what they call a gang for us is,
Yeah,
a gang. So once you see a gang coming, then you're already, feeling some type of way about that, which is sad because again, that's where miseducation is. If you don't educate, yourself, everything is not always about having a pum and creating violence. A lot of these things are good for helping the community.
okay. And also, where did you come up with the title? We are born to podcast for your podcast.
Oh, this is the topic for this episode because we podcasters. I was like, I needed a refreshing take on it because a lot of my, my podcast bros and sis we're struggling with trying to stay consistent right now. So I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? For me, I know for me, I'm born to do it. I'm just going through my own little mental thing of rediscovering my reasons why I was born to do it. It's just what I'm going through at this present state.
And also, like, podcasters sometimes they have like either like another job or side hustles out of podcasting, or they use podcasting like their main source of income.
Right. Me, I started in the beginning as a hobbyist, and then around my third season till now, I went from hobbyist to full time profession. Like this is my 9 to 5.
Okay, well, I tried to get a 9 to 5 for like years, and I came across like I remember like self employment and freelancing. Like I work my own hours, and
Right.
also like the traditional like ways of trying to like get a job these days or whatever. It don't really work like that no more. In fact, we can say that for like another podcast show, like the outdated job and career advice.
Okay, we can do that. I think that'll be helpful because people are struggling with that. You know what I'm saying? Especially with this economy that we're dealing with now. You know, I'm just saying it right here on my show because I can say it on my show. At this point, y'all might as well just go ahead and make being a street pharmacist legal and go ahead and be able to file taxes for it the way it's hard out here to maintain. Because
You know,
that's
like don't be too surprised if you teach like you have a teacher. Not only they teach, but say pharmaceutical like an independent pharmaceutical seller on the side.
there you go, right? That's my resume.
Not like it, not like I'm trying to advocate committing crimes, anything. Like I said before, like we are not reliable. I mean, liable if you get arrested or get caught or whatever.
Nope, we will not. We did not. I did not put a pum pum to your head and force you to take this. I just said I got what you're looking for to ease your pain.
Like I mean, for this podcast, like we don't want nobody like try to sue us or
Oh
like
nah,
we are not
I can't deal with no
responsible.
lawsuits. Quick disclaimer: we here at Live with DJ and Steady and Company do not condone nor are we promoting the use of these items that we are discussing.
Nor to
So,
sell or distribution. You will get locked up or fined or both.
well, find out next week, ladies and gentlemen, if that was actually a thing. I'm stop. Okay.
Okay. Also, it's like gotta do like a lot of research, not only like trying to find your topics, like how to do a podcast to in general, like how you gonna do it. Like what kind of equipment do you need? Like the headphones that DJ Steady is wearing or background computer or some type of like machine that the producer uses, and also like let's say you in your bedroom and or like recording studio, like those things on the wall that kind of like soundproof a wall or whatever, you stable it on your wall.
Right. And the best, and with that, learning what type of microphone as well. Like, there's dynamics and there's condenser mics. So you would have to learn the difference of what you're looking for to get a good quality of sound for your podcast.
Oh yeah, and also how like that mentioned how you're gonna promote your podcast. Like, are you gonna either like how you gonna do like or if you're gonna do an interview, are you going to be inside the studio or this or virtual like we're doing right now?
Absolutely, that is important. Like some people do prefer in person recording things, and I hope as I venture further to get around to doing in person. Like I do actually want to start doing live events, like showing up on the scenes and being able to set up and host podcasts at events. Because I realize DJ Steady actually is a very well known name. You can Google me. I'm out you. I just
Yeah. And me Google like Veronica Adams, and then like both Veronica Adams and Waterfall Adams, and you can find me. It just I need to really boost things.
yes, you do. Okay, I'm glad you know. We got to get you
And
boosted and promoted.
oh yes, and also trying to find like affordable ways to do go podcast. Like you don't have to make even this your equipment or that you plan on using. It don't have to be expensive. Just make sure it's like good quality.
That's all. You want to make sure that it's good quality for sure. Because I, for one, can tell you, I first started with a $30 microphone, and it was a USB plug and play microphone, and it had good quality. But then I started researching, and I wanted better. Like, so I learned the difference between the dynamics, the condenser mics. I learned what having an audio interface is. I learned about different streaming platforms, and you got to learn about having that internet connection because you're gonna need that.
And also, like, did I ever mention about research the content you plan on using for your podcast too?
Please research. Do not just go and just because you what they call it. You just think because it was a good. It may sound good. Not everything that's in your head may sound good on wax until you thoroughly write it out and build off of it. Because sometimes you can shoot an idea that may have sounded good, but it might have just been good for like a friend you were trying to share it with, versus an audience who might be like, nah, that wasn't it for me. So you got to learn your pros and your cons of topic research.
Oh yeah, and also another thing. Speaking of research, another topic I have in mind we could use next time is like how to tell if a biopic sucks,
By the acting.
and also if the or if the person was like they're doing a biopic on is known for their music, at least get the permission to use the music. Like for example, my that Man in the Mirror from it was from VH1 that had Alexander as it's just they
That
didn't
man,
use Michael Jackson's music at all. And also that Aaliyah, Princess of R&B biopic, they didn't have permission to use her music, but only one song.
yeah, because a lot of time when they decide to do certain movies, the estate of these individuals don't be done approved, and family members already be kind of like, no, they not okay with it. So then y'all just go ahead and just try to force put something together after these people done said no. Y'all figure y'all gonna go ahead and do it, and that's why y'all don't get the clearance to use a lot of their music or likenesses. Because what y'all to this day can never explain why y'all thought it was a great idea for Flex Alexander to play Michael Jackson.
And
Y'all can't
also
explain.
it was bad. That the whole thing was bad and sad. Essentially, like, what did they do for his makeup? Just take some powder and throw it
And
at it?
that's all y'all did on that man was threw baby powder on that man, and was like, yeah, this is the era after Michael actually who actually did have a skin condition. He actually did deal
Yep,
with
and
vitiligo.
also Michael Jackson had a problem with that movie. Now that's another way you could we could say like we could save this stuff for another episode. But another way that a biopic suck is when the person you are portraying has a problem. Like for example, when Jennifer Hudson she portrayed Mandela in a movie about Winnie Mandela, but the problem was while Winnie Mandela was still alive at the time, she had no idea this biopic was going to happen at all.
Just disrespectful right to her face. Mm, mm, mm. And and this that's what they call them quick cash grab type of films because y'all just go in. Some of these will be fresh directors just trying to open the gates, and they just want to go ahead and be controversial right out the gate. If you want to do these leave biopics alone at this current state, just leave them alone altogether.
Like even there are some good, a lot of good, there's some good ones out there, and also another things like bad makeup, like Nina, like Zoe, Saldana, where she portrayed Nina Simone. Look, they just need to be lucky that Nina Simone at the time when they were making it is not alive, okay? Because she would have really went off. On your own free time, please research Nina Simone. This is the same woman who is interviewed talking about like a record company stole her albums and didn't pay me, and she took like a gun and shot at this person and missed.
Yeah, do your research, people. Do your research. That is very important, especially if you're going to make these topics for your shows. It's very
Exactly.
we live in a cancel culture society now where if
Cancel
anything,
culture has always been around,
I
long
know,
before
but
electricity and the
now
internet.
with technology the way it is, you can't misinterpret nothing out there on the internet, and these folks will gobble you up. Like right now, all the backlash Kevin Hart is getting for his just recently coming on the Breakfast Club to defend his roast thing and the whole thing about the controversial George Floyd joke that was stated. And he's just like, oh,
Uh-uh.
we're comedians. Like he's just giving it passes. That's what we do at roast. We say these type of things. You have to be built for it. But
Yeah,
again,
what happened to George Floyd? That's another reason, kind of like why that remember that show Cops. I think that got canceled because of that.
exactly. So it's like in situations like that, it's not. We don't take it like these. I can get it for in the name of a laugh. Some stuff is just going. There is a such thing as going too far for a
Oh
laugh.
yeah,
I don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit down. I'm not gonna repeat the joke. I'm not gonna even go down rabbit hole because we can say that for another podcast. But I was just saying, since it's the most recent thing I see in the news, it's just going. Yeah, you gotta be mindful of how you present things to the world because it's not. Oh, we lost it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a thing about being too sensitive. It's just about being smart and caring about people's feelings. And we're gonna give them a minute to see if Waterfall gonna be able to make it back. Before we close up out of here. So hope y'all enjoyed the fact that DJ Steady came back on the microphone and gave y'all a little taste of what's to come. Cause I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. I've been gone for a little minute, but I'm trying to shake it back up. Y'all already know how to do it. So in the meantime, in between time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been live with DJ Steady and Company, and we're gonna let Waterfalls here close us.
I'm back. I accidentally pushed the Delete Studio button by accident. I'm
Sure,
back
well,
now.
she was sick of me. She was like, "I'm done. I'm out."
Oh, I'm not done yet. It's just it was an accident. Now I'm back.
Go and close us out then, honey.
Okay, well, this is what DJ Steady Ready and Waterfall Happens. Saying good morning, afternoon, good evening. Bye bye.
Now she did like an old school news anchor, but y'all heard her. And if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Good night.